I got into a massive blowout with Beckett. It was ugly, the kind of fight where you swear you never want to see the person's face again as long as you live. But right after we called it quits, I found out I was pregnant. I looked at the doctor, face pale, in total disbelief. You've got to be kidding me, right? The doctor adjusted his glasses. No mistake. Me. But I'm an alpha. The doctor dropped a bombshell. Then your partner must be pretty intense. Walking out of the hospital with the test results in hand, I felt like my whole world had collapsed. I took a few steps, then just squatted on the curb and banged my head against my knees, annoyed beyond belief. Passers-by looked at me like I was a lunatic. But none of that mattered, because the shock I received today was way bigger than a few weird looks. Me and Alpha was pregnant. What made it even harder to swallow was that I had just broken up with the other father 2 days ago. And it wasn't pretty. How ugly was it? Let's just say we were at the dead-to-me stage. Beckett and I are both alphas. Logically speaking, we shouldn't work. But you know what they say about being blinded by beauty. I was totally digmatized by that face of his. It wasn't just that he looked like a model. He had this mole right at the corner of his mouth that was dangerously sexy. Even though he was an alpha, if you ignored the biology, I was thirsty for him. I used every trick in the book, coaxing, lying, flirting, just to win the ice prince over. But he was high maintenance, not easily dragged down from his pedestal. I simped for half a month and he didn't budge. Finally, I caught a break. He went into a rut. Turns out, even in a rut, he still had the energy to fight me. And the most embarrassing part? I lost. My plan was to sweep the beauty off his feet. But instead, the beauty pinned me down. Whatever, fine. Chasing a guy takes patience and sacrifice. You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. After that encounter, Beckett didn't ignore me anymore. He actually treated me pretty well. But the problem was, why was I always the one getting topped? That wasn't the plan. My original goal was to top him. After the umpteenth time losing a wrestling match and ending up on the bottom, we had our biggest fight yet. What is wrong with you? I'm an alpha too. I threw away my pride and dignity for you. I let you take the lead so many times. Would it kill you to let me top just once? Beckett crossed his arms and looked at me with a sneer. Did I force you? Who was the one clinging to me? Who tried to take advantage of me during my rut? You know exactly what your intentions were. You brought this on yourself. Who are you trying to impress with this victim act? Technically, he wasn't wrong, but it stung. I couldn't help but argue back. I'm an alpha too. I can't be the bottom forever, right? Beckett turned to leave. Beckett, screw you. You've got nerve. Fine. If you walk out that door today, I don't know you. We never see each other again. I'm done being pathetic for you. Beckett paused for a split second with his hand on the doorknob. Just a second. Then he said, suit yourself. Bam. The door slammed shut. He walked away without a shred of hesitation. That same day, out of pure rage, I blocked him on everything and vowed to return to being a normal, self-respecting alpha. But what kind of self-respecting alpha gets knocked up by another alpha? Despite the tough talk I'd thrown at Beckett, I had no choice but to find him now. If I told my parents straight up, they'd probably explode. I gritted my teeth and unblocked Beckett. I sent a message. Red exclamation mark. Well played myself. He blocked me back. If I couldn't reach him on his phone, I just have to corner him in person. So, I showed up on his route home from work. Beckett saw me and didn't react at all. He tried to walk right past me. I quickly blocked his path. Wait a minute. He didn't even look me in the eye. Gavin, didn't you say you'd never see me again? That you were done being pathetic? I ground my teeth, but I didn't have the energy to bicker. I have something serious to talk about. He stopped and looked at me, eyes full of mockery. What now? Another new trick. To get him out on dates before, I used to cling to him and make up every excuse in the book. But this wasn't an excuse. I bit my lip, finding it hard to say. Beckett watched me, his patience clearly running thin. Seeing he was about to leave, I blurted out, I'm pregnant. Beckett's brow furrowed. I couldn't tell what he was thinking. I watched him nervously and swallowed hard. After a long silence, he scoffed. Gavin, do you think I'll get jealous? Is this your clumsy way of getting my attention? Damn this narcissist. Where does he get this confidence? I clenched my jaw, finally losing it. I yelled at him, Jealous my ass. It's your kid. Beckett looked at me like I was a ghost. The corner of his mouth seemed to twitch. Don't tell me. You and Alpha are pregnant. I knew it was hard to believe, but it was the truth. I shoved the lab report at him. The proof is right here. If you don't believe me, I can't help you. Anyway, this is the situation. Tell me how we're going to solve it. Beckett frowned, staring at the paper, deep in thought. After a while, he clicked his tongue. Have you told your mom and dad yet? Not yet. Beckett pinched the bridge of his nose, looking annoyed. I must have had bad luck for 8 lifetimes to get stuck with you. Go home. Tell your parents. And wait. I was stunned. Wait for what? Beckett was already 10 feet away, leaving me with just a view of his back. For me to come propose. What? Is he actually taking responsibility? He wants me to have the baby? It was hard to imagine. I scrambled to catch up. Actually, getting rid of it is an option too. Beckett stopped. For some reason, he looked like he was laughing out of anger. Gavin, I have never met anyone as flighty as you. With that, he walked away. I stood there, frozen and confused. Wait, what did he mean? How am I flighty? Damn it. I'm the one with the bad luck for meeting you. At dinner that night, I watched my parents' expressions. They seemed okay. I picked at a few bland dishes. Halfway through, my mom put a spare rib in my bowl. The smell made me nauseous instantly. There was no way I could eat it. I put it back in her bowl. Mom frowned, confused. Why aren't you eating? I can't keep it down. Mom looked at me suspiciously. I was acting weird. Really weird. That's not right. You love ribs. Are you feeling sick? She pressed. My dad looked over too. I sighed. I had to face the music eventually. I put down my chopsticks. Okay, I have to tell you guys something. You have to promise me you won't get mad. Mom and Dad stared at me seriously, waiting for the rest. I chose my words carefully. I'm pregnant. Silence. You could hear a pin drop. My mom looked like she'd turned to stone. My dad wasn't doing much better. After a long pause, Mom asked for confirmation in total disbelief. Pregnant? Who's pregnant? Did you get someone pregnant? Or did someone get you pregnant? I repeated myself. I am pregnant. Mom choked. She was still processing. Dad asked hurriedly, are you sure? This isn't a joke. You're an alpha. I'm sure. 100% sure. Dad choked too. Took the old couple a good while to recover. Mom asked, whose is it? Beckett's. Mom and Dad froze simultaneously, looking at each other. Beckett's. Parents and my parents were old colleagues. They kept in touch. This whole situation just leveled up in absurdity. Mom sighed deeply. Does Beckett know? What did he say? I rubbed my nose, trying to ease the awkwardness. He said he's coming to propose. I guess my parents felt like they were in a fever dream. They grilled me for a long time about how Beckett and I even got together. I answered truthfully. In the end, their assessment was unanimous. You deserve it. I wanted to cry but had no tears left. The next day, Beckett and his parents showed up. Beckett was dressed formally, looking like a decent human being for once. They talked in the living room while I hid in the dining area, eavesdropping. Basically, it was all about how the families knew each other, how we knew each other's backgrounds, how it was fate that Beckett and I got together, and how we should have the wedding quickly before I started showing. I listened on and off, pouring myself a glass of water, losing track of the conversation. Suddenly, Beckett turned his head, looked at me and called out in a gentle voice, Gavin, come here. I almost spit out my water. Since when did he call me by my first name so intimately? One look at that smile. Fake as hell. Okay, fine. You want to act? Let's see who can gross out whom. I put down the cup, squeezed out the most obnoxious smile I could muster, and pitched my voice high. Coming, Beckett. Beckett's smile froze on his face. I swear, if people weren't watching, I would have twitched. I went over, sat next to him, and batted my eyelashes. Beckett held my hand, seemingly affectionate, but actually gave it a hard squeeze. I guessed he was trying to say, cut it out. I raised an eyebrow at him, ignoring the warning. Then I practically glued myself to him, leaning my head on his shoulder. Beckett stiffened, but he couldn't do anything about it. You called me pathetic? Watch me be pathetic right in your face. My parents looked at me like they didn't know who I was. Beckett's dad quickly smoothed things over. Ha ha ha, look how great their relationship is. We don't need to worry at all. My parents laughed along politely, but I could tell it was forced. After that, there wasn't much left to discuss, just wedding prep and generic small talk. I leaned against Beckett, listening to them drone on, bored out of my mind. I started getting sleepy, and before I knew it, I actually fell asleep. When I regained consciousness, I was being carried in Beckett's arms. He brought me back to my bedroom and placed me on the bed. Groggily, I asked, "Done talking?" He didn't answer. Instead, he teased, "Not calling me Beckett anymore?" Oh, he's still thinking about that. Seeing him like this, I wanted to mess with him again. So I deliberately said, "If you want to hear it, I can say it. Beckett. Not just Beckett, I'll call you hubby. How about that?" Hubby. That hubby was so sugary I wanted to wash my mouth out with dish soap. Beckett went silent. He stood there for a moment, then walked out. I rolled around on the bed, laughing until my stomach hurt. The wedding day arrived quickly. A lot of people came. What annoyed me a bit was that I was in the Omega role of the ceremony. Even though we were both in white suits, I was still irritated. Visually, Beckett looked more like an Omega than I did, though saying that is a bit stereotypical. Sigh. Who asked me to be the one getting pregnant and bottoming? I just had to swallow my pride. Just you wait, Beckett. You're going to pay for this later. After some chaotic formalities, the officiant finished the vows. It gave me goosebumps, but Beckett looked perfectly composed. When it came time to exchange rings, the ring bearer brought them over. Beckett was about to reach for one, but I snatched mine first. Beckett looked at me, confused. I lowered my voice and said awkwardly, "Give me your hand." Beckett seemed to chuckle softly, looking helpless, but he extended his hand. I put the ring on him first. Satisfied. I didn't even know why I did that. When Beckett put the ring on me, the corners of his mouth were turned up the whole time. It didn't look like acting. I didn't know what was so funny. I didn't think there was anything to laugh about. Rings on. Kissing time. I looked up at him slightly. This time he cupped my face and kissed me. Unknowingly, I lost the upper hand again. As our lips and tongues tangled, I tasted something sweet. When we pulled apart, I was dazed, because he had passed a piece of candy into my mouth. Blueberry mint. Cool and refreshing, rushing straight to my head. It was the scent of his pheromones. I looked at him in disbelief. He just smiled. To wake you up. Seriously? Who uses candy flavored like their own pheromones to wake someone up? That's cheating. He was definitely seducing me. I don't know why, but I suddenly hoped the candy wouldn't melt too fast, so the taste would linger in my mouth. Unfortunately, he'd already eaten half of it. There was only a tiny bit left for me. I held his arm as we went to toast the guests. He handled everyone with ease, giving the perfect response to every comment. He looked so decent, so gentle. It made you feel safe. Even though this guy was hot and cold, and I never knew what he was really thinking or where his heart lay. But he was the kind of person who made you fly into the flame like a moth, knowing exactly what the result would be, yet wanting to do it anyway. Sigh. Forget it. I like him. Oh, you beauty. I really fell for you. Finally, all the procedures ended. The chaos was over and we could go back to rest. The moment I lay on the bed, I felt every muscle in my body relax. But after lying there for a while, a nameless irritation and emptiness crept in. Starting today, I was living with Beckett. But Beckett was sleeping in a separate room. As soon as we got back, he grabbed a pillow and went to the guest room. Who does that on the first day of marriage? Even if he dislikes me, he didn't have to be like this. And what was the meaning of seducing me with that candy during the kiss? Maybe taste and smell really do create the strongest memories. I started remembering that candy, and with it, the smell of Beckett's pheromones. The more I thought about it, the more uncomfortable I got. Couldn't sleep. Logically, alphas are born to repel other alphas' pheromones. It's instinct. Repulsion, irritation, discomfort, disgust. But right now, I just really wanted to smell him. Consequences be damned. Damn it. This sucks. Thinking about it, I decided, I can suffer, but I won't suffer alone. Dislike me? Huh? Then I'm going to go annoy you. So, hugging my pillow, I knocked on the guest room door. When Beckett opened the door and saw me, he froze. He looked me up and down. Are you running away from home? I was already annoyed and didn't have the patience for his teasing. I pushed past him, marched into the guest room, and burrowed into the covers. The bed still held Beckett's warmth. It was cozy, much warmer than the master bed. Felt good to sleep in. Having a bed warmer is nice. Beckett stood frozen at the door, laughing in disbelief. What is wrong with you? Why the temper? Or is it that you love me so much you can't stand to be apart? So you came here looking for warmth? He was trying to gross me out by exaggerating. But I married him, and I'm carrying his kid. You think I can't outplay him? I rolled over and smiled at him. Yeah, that's it. I love you so much I can't function. Without you, I'm lonely, cold, and sleepless. What about it? Beckett didn't seem to expect that. He frowned. What? I patted the spot next to me. So, hubby, come sleep with me. Okay? If I don't rest well, it's probably bad for the baby, right? I emphasized hubby heavily. Maximum cringe. I watched Beckett's face turn every color of the rainbow before settling on black. He shut the door and walked to the bed like a man marching to his doom. I'm terrified of you. What I said before was right. I have bad luck for 8 lifetimes meeting you. I lay back down, satisfied. Likewise. Beckett lay down beside me and reached to turn off the bedside lamp. Quickly grabbed his hand. He looked impatient. Now what? Moving fast, I pulled open his pajama collar and ripped the scent patch off his gland. The scent of alpha pheromones began to drift out, faint but unmistakable. Beckett startled. What are you doing? I pressed myself against him. Nothing. Just molesting you. With that, I buried my nose against his gland, getting real close, and took a deep sniff. It was kind of perverted behavior, but he was my husband. What was wrong with taking a sniff, right? A deep inhale. Sure enough, it made me agitated. My hand gripping his shoulder tightened involuntarily. But after enduring that wave of agitation, savoring the crisp scent of his pheromones, I felt the anxiety smooth out. It was like instinct and desire were fighting a war. An alpha falling in love with an alpha. I guess it's supposed to transcend instinct. Again and again, I got addicted. I felt a bit frustrated with myself, muttering unconsciously in a low voice. It's all your fault. Making me into a pervert who craves an alpha. Beckett's body stiffened, and his breathing grew heavier. He tried to break free and get up. I grabbed his arm, not wanting to let him go. What's wrong? Where are you going? By the light of the lamp, I saw his ears were red. Beckett gritted his teeth. Jesus Christ, I am a man. What do you think? I suddenly realized what was happening. My head buzzed, and I felt my face start to burn. I stammered, you. Beckett tried to leave again, but I held on to him. He looked back at me, his expression a mix of impatience and confusion. What is it? Sigh. Considering I harassed the guy tonight, I couldn't just stand by and do nothing. I mumbled softly, given my condition, I probably can't do that. But I'm feeling generous today. I can help you another way. With that, I gave a hard yank and pulled Beckett back onto the bed. When it was all over, Beckett wrapped his arms around me. It was weirdly hot. I got sleepy fast, drifting into a haze. The guest bed was much smaller than the master, but it was just big enough for 2 people. One me, one him. Compared to that massive, empty bed, having just enough space was better. Plus, with the bed being small, I could be close to him. As long as we slept in this bed, we couldn't be far apart even if we wanted to. Thinking this, I hugged him back, tight. The next day, Beckett went to work. I slept in until late. I don't know if it was the pregnancy, but I felt lethargic. Dragging my heavy head, I got up, ate something, and checked my phone. My friends were messaging me. They had gathered the group and were asking me to come out. My sudden marriage to Beckett definitely raised some questions. But it had been a long time since we all hung out, so I pulled myself together, cleaned up a bit, and went out. I walked into the karaoke bar's private room. The whole crew was there. As soon as they saw me, someone rushed over and started the interrogation. Spill it. When did you snag the ice prince? I shrugged helplessly. I just helped him out a few times. My friend laughed. And helped your way into feelings? I answered honestly, hard to say. Maybe Beckett just felt obligated because of the kid. Whether there were feelings or not, I really couldn't say. My friend looked confused. If there are no feelings, why did he marry you? I stammered, maybe because of the baby. As soon as the words left my mouth, everyone looked at me in shock, as if I had done something earth-shattering. He couldn't control his volume. You guys already have a kid. I covered my face, unable to look at them. Don't yell so loud. You're amazing, man. Knocking up an alpha? Never seen it, never heard of it. Respect. I quietly corrected him. I'm the one who's pregnant. The guy was drinking. Hearing this, he sprayed his drink everywhere. He wiped the mess with a tissue, asking in total disbelief, "You're pregnant?" His dramatic reaction made everyone else stare at me even harder. I really wanted to tape his mouth shut. I collapsed on the sofa, resigning myself to my fate, eyes closed. My friend realized his reaction was a bit much and laughed awkwardly to cover it up. Honestly, don't blame me for being surprised. We all thought you were the top. Yeah. Appearance-wise, for a male alpha, Beckett was definitely on the prettier side. His skin was ridiculously pale, like he'd never seen the sun. Practically glowed. When he lowered his eyes, he gave off this vibe of being nonchalant yet totally in control. Especially that mole near his mouth. It was just too sexy. I started daydreaming about his face without realizing it. My friend had to call my name to snap me out of it. I smiled, suddenly feeling at peace with it. What do you guys know? This is what being a real man is. I couldn't bear to let him suffer. So what if I'm not the top? So what if I'm pregnant? It's not like the kid won't call me dad. Honestly, even if Beckett wanted to carry the baby, I wouldn't let him go through that pain. Besides, I wasn't that shallow, just in it for a pretty face. I fell for a high-maintenance, pampered prince. What could I do? I had to spoil him. My friend paused, then gave me a thumbs up. You've got guts. I didn't confirm or deny it. Please stop asking. I can't exactly say I lost the fight and tried to steal the chicken only to lose the rice. Can I? Most of the people there were old classmates from school. Most had jobs. Some had families. I guess I had a family now, too. Since it was rare for so many of us to get together, I stayed out a bit longer. The music was loud. People were howling into the microphone, and everyone was shouting. I didn't notice my phone ringing. I had silenced it earlier so I wouldn't be disturbed while sleeping. So when I saw over a dozen missed calls from Beckett, my heart sank. I hastily said goodbye to my friends and rushed out to catch a cab home. When I got home, the house was pitch black. I almost thought no one was there. I turned on the lights and jumped. Beckett was sitting on the sofa, staring straight at me. I don't know how long he'd been watching me in the dark. Maybe since he heard noise at the door. He looked at me without speaking. I felt inexplicably nervous. But then I thought I wasn't out cheating. Why am I panicking? So I pretended to be relaxed and sat down next to him. I tried to break the ice, reaching for his arm. Hubby, why didn't you turn on the lights? Beckett dodged, refusing to let me touch him. You still know I'm your husband? You didn't answer calls, didn't reply to texts, left without a word. You're really something. I thought you forgot you had a home to come back to. Great. He's mad. I pursed my lips and explained. It was my fault. It was loud there, I didn't hear the phone ring. I really didn't mean to. Beckett turned to look at me and laughed. A self-deprecating sound. He said, you don't even know what you did wrong. You're pregnant, running around who knows where. I knew nothing. You didn't leave a note. What if something happened? Do you have any idea how worried I was? You have no concept of family. What are the baby and I to you? Do you only care about your own fun? His barrage of words left me dazed and feeling a little wronged. I had just been praising him to my friends. Sure, I messed up. So just let me apologize. Him throwing a tantrum like this? I wasn't having it. But I couldn't muster up any real anger. So I just mumbled softly, what do you mean I only care about my own fun? We were sitting close, so Beckett definitely heard me. He said, isn't it true? Gavin, I thought I could trust you. Trust that you were serious about me. In the end, you're still acting like a reckless punk. You don't even have the attitude to admit when you're wrong. One day, I'll be worried to death and you'll still be like this. Now he was pissing me off. I put him on a pedestal, treated him like a treasure, and he's going nuclear over this? What am I getting out of this? Can't he cut me some slack? Would it kill him to give me an out, the jerk? I couldn't help it. My nose started stinging. Enough. You're the only one who gets to be upset, right? I apologized to you. What else do you want? You asked what you and the baby are to me. Well, I'm asking you, why did you marry me? You dare say it wasn't because of the baby? How are you any more noble? I yelled my piece and ran. Before Beckett could say anything, I bolted upstairs to the master bedroom. Honestly, did he really think I had to squeeze into that crappy guest bed with him? It was embarrassing. Two grown men fighting over something so small. I got heated and questioned Beckett. But thinking about it calmly, I needed to ask if he really was just in it for the child. I didn't have to hang myself on his tree forever. I thought we'd be awkward for a while, maybe give each other the silent treatment for 2 or 3 days. That's how it usually went. But after tossing and turning in bed for a bit, I heard footsteps getting closer. I felt confused, so I quickly pretended to be asleep. The door pushed open with a creak. Beckett walked to the bedside and sighed. Gavin, are you asleep? I didn't speak, but I turned over, making a little noise. Beckett said I was wrong too. I shouldn't have been so harsh. Don't be mad at me, okay? What? He's softening? This pretentious guy. He actually apologized to me? I sat up in shock. Huh? Beckett seemed embarrassed by my big reaction and turned his head away slightly. I probed, What did you say? Beckett actually spoke gently with full patience. I shouldn't have been so fierce. I should have asked you properly. Please don't be mad at me, okay? You're pregnant. Getting angry isn't good for you. Okay, fine. In the end, it's still about the baby. I was unhappy again. I lay back down. Hard for you to apologize. For the child. I specifically emphasized for the child. Beckett seemed to sigh again. He climbed onto the bed and wrapped his arms around me. He pressed close. His warm breath tickled me as he spoke. He said, it's not for the child. Suddenly, I felt my heart pounding, faster and stronger than ever before, like a drum. It felt like an invisible drumhead was vibrating, shaking my brain until it tingled. He explained, this pretender. He stopped pretending. My voice was muffled. If it's not for the child, then what is it? You have to say it clearly. Otherwise, just because we're married doesn't mean we can't divorce. I don't necessarily have to spend my life with you. Beckett chuckled lightly. He pulled a hand out from under the covers and rubbed my head. Because of you. I married you because I like you. I want this child because you are carrying it. I yelled at you because I was worried about you. Everything is centered on you. It has nothing to do with anything else. Because I fell in love with you. Okay. I fell in love with you a long time ago. The world went quiet. Only my heartbeat provided the soundtrack. I once prayed to someone somewhere, please let love descend upon my heart. And now love had truly descended. I muttered, now you talk so sweet. What about all the times I suffered for you? All the times I accommodated you? You always act so high and mighty. Every time I'm the one shamelessly sticking to. You soften up once, and I stop being angry? Your apology is way too expensive. Beckett laughed out loud, like a maniac. He gently pinched my nose. It didn't hurt. It felt like flirting. He said, I realized something. I'm proud, but you're even prouder. Neither of us gives an inch, so every fight turns ugly. You say you're wronged, that you accommodate me. From now on, I'll be the one wronged. I'll accommodate you. Deal? I pouted. It's not about who accommodates whom. Beckett interrupted me quickly. Okay, no need to say it. I get it. Because I love you, and you love me. So this should be called tolerance, right? Looks like he understands perfectly. Although I heard the words I wanted to hear, I was still annoyed. I elbowed him, making him hiss in pain. Maybe being the favored one makes you fearless. I spoke much tougher. So what the hell were you doing before? Ignoring me on purpose just to make me chase you? Beckett coughed twice to cover his awkwardness. He said, marriage is long-term, a lifetime thing. After marrying you, I definitely have to be responsible for every aspect of you, including your mood. I stopped talking, cuddled up like that. Sleep came quickly. The sleep was deep, and the dreams were long. From that day on, Beckett and I seemed to swap roles. I don't know how to describe it. Basically, he stopped being sarcastic and stubborn. I became the sarcastic one. I tease him from time to time, and most of the time he just let me say whatever. But he had a bottom line. If I said anything like wait until I give birth, I'm gonna top you, he would strictly keep a straight face and say, That is not happening. I figured it out. You can't give Beckett a friendly face. If you spoil him, he gets entitled. But so do I. However, love requires tolerance, as he said. So I accepted it calmly. Although having a baby isn't easy, during my pregnancy, Beckett was meticulous. Let's put it this way. Later on, as soon as I opened my eyes, he'd ask if I needed help getting up. He even put my socks on for me. In my condition, I had to have a C-section. On the day of the delivery, even though everything was prepared long in advance, he checked the hospital bag over and over again. It was kind of funny to watch. He just said, "I can't give birth for you, so I have to do my best in other ways, hoping you suffer a little less. It's also a show of sincerity to the heavens." I laughed. "Aren't you a materialist? You don't believe in that stuff." He shook his head. "Not anymore. Now I'm a Gavinist." That was actually kind of cute. Maybe Beckett really was sincere because the birth went very smoothly. The baby was a beta girl. I looked at her, and the more I looked, the more I liked her. Since we weren't sure of the gender, we bought baby supplies in every color. I had confidently told Beckett back then, "Believe me, it's definitely a girl. I have a hunch." Beckett had scoffed, saying I was delusional. Turns out it really was a girl. He had nothing to say. I deliberately teased him. Oh my, who said I was delusional? Look at how accurate I was. Is it a girl or not? TSK, TSK, TSK. Look how pretty, how cute she is. Beckett stood with his hands in his pockets, frowning, looking disgusted. Pretty? She looks like a hairless monkey. Once you put that image in my head, I went silent. She really did look a bit like one. After a while, I defended her. Hey, all newborns look like this. She'll grow into her looks. Besides, you can tell she's going to be a beauty. Okay? Believe in your genes. Beckett just humphed. The baby took my last name, but Beckett chose her first name. Her full name is Sienna Gusayan. I gave him grief about it. Such a good last name, and he picked that. His explanation was, "So what? It has meaning. Her two parents are stubborn mules who say whatever comes to mind. We absolutely couldn't let her inherit that. So he wanted her to think before speaking." Okay, fine. I had nothing to say. He had a point. Actually, the more I say it, the nicer it sounds. Watching Beckett carefully holding the baby, rocking her to sleep, I suddenly felt that this is all one really seeks in life. Meeting him, falling in love with him, there was nothing wrong with it. Even if he is an alpha and by worldly standards shouldn't be with an alpha like me. But I believe that our understanding and love is a spiritual communion that transcends the physical body. It shouldn't be bound by gender, nor confused by the mundane world.